Hey guys, welcome back. It's time for another reaction video, and today I'm going to be reacting to Hollywood won't cast these 7 actors anymore. Why? I thought this one would be kind of interesting, a little different from some of the stuff I've reacted to in the past. It'll be fun to see which 7 actors they cover and why. Let's see what we're getting into. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe.
We're going to talk about 7 actors who are no longer cast by Hollywood.
I wonder how accurate this is. This was done a year ago. I literally just watched the movie yesterday with Seann William Scott, a new movie that just came out. As far as I know, Cameron Diaz made the choice to stop acting. I think same thing with Jim Carrey. He chose to step away from acting. I don't know about Tobey Maguire and Taylor Lautner and Super Bad Guy and Borat. Let's see.
Beginning with Seann William Scott, whose performance as Stifler in American Pie was so iconic that it actually hindered him from landing future roles. Seann stated in a 2010 interview, "I had so much fun and loved the character, but I don't want to be known as that character forever. Now I'm realizing that I probably will be known as that character forever," also adding in a Conan O'Brien interview that Stifler's basically all he's seen as when fans meet him in real life.
Do people think you're Stifler? Do you have situations where people...
No, people think that I'm my guy.
Yeah.
They think that I'm Stifler.
This made it difficult for Seann to land any role where he wasn't playing a douchey frat boy, although this wasn't so much of an issue at the start. He'd star in films such as Dude, Where's My Car?, The Dukes of Hazzard, as well as Role Models, finding success in each film with the American Pie persona. However, these types of raunchy teen comedies aren't all that common anymore, and with Seann William Scott approaching his 50th birthday, it's not difficult to see why he no longer has the same utility as he used to. Between 2019 and 2022, Seann didn't appear in a single production, yet he would return in a TV series called Welcome to Flatch, in which Seann still looks exactly like Stifler over 23 years later. Although Seann William Scott isn't...
Seann William Scott's definitely aged well in my opinion. And I've seen him in all sorts of movies. And I know this is an older one, but I thought he was really good in The Rundown with The Rock. The one I just saw the other day, he was in the movie for a short role. It was in the beginning of the movie. But he was funny in the movie. I've always liked him. I don't see him as only the Stifler character. I do think he killed it as Stifler. Like, I don't know that they could have dropped another actor in those movies and would have gotten those same type of results as they got with him in the American Pie movie. So, yeah, let's see this guy.
The only actor with this problem, as Christopher Mintz-Plasse has been unable to...
I couldn't think of his name. Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
Scott isn't the only actor with this problem, as Christopher Mintz-Plasse has been unable to escape the legendary name McLovin ever since starring in Superbad. The movie was literally Chris's very first acting role, being cast for his unique nerdy appearance, which when plastered on a certain iconic fake ID, made him recognizable to everybody. He'd stated in a Vanity Fair interview, "The day after it came out, I was a nobody, 18 years old. I'd never done anything in my life. And then the next day I go to a restaurant, and then someone across the way goes McLovin in front of like 40 people. Then I was like, oh, something is changing in the atmosphere here," leading to concerns from fellow Superbad co-star Emma Stone, who stated, "Is Chris Mintz-Plasse going to be called McLovin for the rest of his life?" Chris had found himself with the same curse as Seann William Scott, which is interesting as the two would star alongside each other only 1 year after.
That's right, Seann William Scott was in this movie too. Christopher Mintz-Plasse also reminds me of a younger version of the dude from The Office and The Hangover, the nerdier guy out of the group, the one that pulls his tooth out. He looks like a younger version of him.
Superbad, where Chris played a character very similar to McLovin. More than half of his 5 most recent films have been voice acting roles, possibly done so he could disassociate from McLovin, yet on the trailer for his most recent film called Honor Roll, one of the top comments is still, "You know you're getting old when McLovin from Superbad now plays guidance counselor roles in teen movies." Despite being unable to escape the curse of McLovin, Christopher Mintz-Plasse has managed to find success in the music industry with his band called Main Man. When asked during an interview...
That's interesting. I didn't know he had a band. Main Man. Maybe we should do reactions to it. Let me know in the comments if y'all would watch some Main Man reactions.
to find success in the music industry with his band called Main Man. When asked during an interview, "Do you ever feel pulled toward acting or music more than the other?" Chris responded by stating, "I would love to keep balancing the two. I think I'm very lucky and grateful for where I am right now that I can do both. Acting, you can work for 3 months and not work for 6 months. So in that time, I love the momentum of music and everything that's going on. The momentum right now is very musical. I kind of just go with the flow, and it seems as though Jim Carrey has taken on a similar attitude. In the early days, Jim Carrey had a never-ending list of cult classic films. The Grinch, The Mask, The Truman Show, Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, even Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind was amazing. However, when was the last time you heard any hype around a Jim Carrey movie after maybe the second Dumb and Dumber almost 10 years ago? There's a good reason for this. Between 2016 and 2020, Jim Carrey took a 4-year hiatus from acting, which seemed to have been catalyzed by the death of his ex-girlfriend in late 2015. The tragedy not only resulted in grief, but Jim Carrey also had to spend the entirety of 2017 embroiled in various lawsuits related to her passing. He was dismissed of any legal wrongdoing in early 2018, yet only 6 months later in a...
I'm trying to recall if I knew anything about her passing and I forgot about it, or if this is completely new to me. It's not really... I don't know, this might be the first time I'm hearing about this. I'm not sure.
Dismissed of any legal wrongdoing in early 2018, yet only 6 months later in a Hollywood Reporter interview, it was explained that Jim Carrey was an actor who had effectively renounced his own celebrity after stating, "I just didn't want to be in the business anymore. I didn't like what was happening, the corporations taking over and all that. And maybe it's because I felt pulled toward a different type of creative outlet." Jim Carrey instead began to focus on painting, and while he would return to acting for a brief period in 2020, he'd go on to state this in April 2022.
Well, I'm retiring, but I really like my quiet life, and I really love putting paint on canvas. And this is something you might never hear another celebrity say as long as time exists. I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough.
He added that Sonic...
I respect that, you know, like, he's got enough money to live out the rest of his life. Enjoy your life, you know? Don't keep chasing the fame. I don't know that he was ever chasing the fame either. I think he just loved being silly and creative and making people laugh, and he's done that. And now he's amassed a fortune, and he's found that he loves painting and living a more calm and relaxed life, and I think that's awesome.
The Hedgehog 2 would be his final movie, and apart from a small appearance in The Weeknd's Out of Time music video, Jim Carrey has stayed true to his retirement. But whatever happened to Tobey Maguire? As summarized well by this comment, "I don't care what other movies this guy plays in, he will always be Spider-Man to me, and while this is true for most Tobey Maguire fans, he isn't really typecast in the same way as McLovin or Stifler. He found success playing fairly unique roles in other films such as The Great Gatsby, yet since 2014, almost 10 years ago, he appeared in no more than 3 films and 1 episode of a TV show. Why? He's not a romantic lead, he's not an action star, he's not a comedic actor, he's not a Shakespearean. His boyish good looks were appealing in his 20s and 30s, but not when he's in his early 40s. Basically, Tobey Maguire has a limited range as an actor, and there aren't many roles for him within that range. Besides being fairly limited in terms of what roles he can play, Tobey Maguire has also found himself in numerous media scandals. In 2015, it was reported that Maguire won as much as 30 to 40 million from illegal poker games over the course of 3 years, with most of this money having come from a hedge fund manager who's now serving 10 years in prison himself.
I think I saw the movie about this. It was the redhead actress, I cannot think of her name, how she ran an illegal poker game, and there was lots of celebrities and politicians and all sorts of A-listers that were involved in it, and apparently I think Tobey Maguire was one of the main people that movie was about. But it's been a while since I watched it. If you know what movie I'm talking about, tell me in the comments, and tell me if you think I'm accurate, or if you know that that's what they're referring to. I'm pretty sure that's what they're referring to, though.
Most of this money having come from a hedge fund manager who's now serving 10 years in prison himself for running an illegal Ponzi scheme. The poker games were organized by a woman named Molly Bloom, who wrote in her memoir that Maguire asked her to bark like a seal who wants a fish in order to earn a $1,000 poker chip. The poker game organizer added that she tried to laugh it off. However, the actor persisted and said, "I'm not kidding, what's wrong? You're too rich now, you won't bark for $1,000? On top of this scandal, there are YouTube compilations dedicated solely directly to Tobey Maguire getting angry at paparazzi, although the main reason behind why he's disappeared from Hollywood is because he's busy making movies as opposed to acting in them. Despite having acted in only 4 productions since 2014, he's been the producer for 8 movies during the same time period, which is significantly more
I can respect that too. Sometimes you want to move on from being in front of the camera to being behind the camera. I recently, over the last year or two, have done a couple short films, and on the first 2 I was the director. The third one I was the producer. But I've never been in front of the camera as an actor because I don't feel like I'm an actor. I mean, I can sit here and do reaction videos, and I can make vlogs and travel videos and puzzle videos and all these things because I'm just being me. But I don't think I would be comfortable trying to act. But my point being is that I'm used to being in front of the camera for these types of videos. But it's also nice to kind of be behind the camera as a director and try something different. And I'm also a photographer, so I'm behind the camera in that regard too. So yeah, Taylor Lautner, I think I've heard about this one. I think it's because he got tired of being typecasted because of his physique, and he didn't want to have to maintain that physique anymore, and he just wanted to be more normal body, I guess. And he didn't want to do these roles where he was constantly having to be half dressed to carry the story. Let's see if that's what they say.
He's been the producer for 8 movies during the same time period, which is significantly more prolific than Taylor Lautner, who was blacklisted by Hollywood for a much more brutal reason. Taylor Lautner became an overnight sensation at the age of 16 after starring in the incredibly famous series Twilight, with his attractive physical appearance helping him to land the role and maintain an audience of dedicated teenage fangirls. Almost every Taylor Lautner interview focused on his body.
So everybody's talking about the scene where you drop your pants. How was that?
With the whole Team Jacob versus Team Edward fiasco helping Taylor Lautner to earn an estimated $40 million from the franchise. Wow. He was so famous that for 10 whole years, he didn't go to a grocery store, movie theater, or a mall, although over time, this insane level of fame began to fade.
I think it would suck to have that level of fame, to be honest. You can't live a normal life anymore. It's like a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, he's got $41 million now, but he can't go out and actually do anything with the money and enjoy life without being surrounded by fans. So it's like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's like, oh, you didn't be in the movies, you don't have the 41 million. Would you be happy living your life the way a normal person would live? I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with that, but I do think it would kind of suck to constantly be chased down by people. If you in saying that, if you guys ever see me in public, come up and say hi for sure. But I don't think obviously I have the fan base that somebody like Taylor Lautner has, obviously, so it's different.
Or a mall, although over time this insane level of fame began to fade. The 4 movies he starred in after Twilight each failed to crack 6 stars on IMDb, the worst of which being described as a 4th-rate Hollywood thriller that bundles a lot of thievery from better movies, is entirely bereft of suspense or excitement, and features a leading man who absolutely positively cannot act. And by 2016, Taylor Lautner had stopped exercising altogether, leading him to lose the body that had made him so famous in the first place.
And, what happens when you don't want to see a gym is you start losing the 8-pack. Seeing it online was very tough. And being like, wow, he's let it all go. I was like, oh man, did I really let it all go?
It'd be unfair to call Taylor Lautner's Twilight success lucky, as he definitely had to put in a lot of work prior to landing the role, but it did seem like he'd caught the right wave at the right time. The movie demanded a fit guy in his late teens, which Taylor Lautner suited perfectly at the time. However, this on its own was insufficient to ensure any long-term success. But while every person we've discussed so far has continued to land small roles here and there, it's time to talk about Cameron Diaz, who hasn't been cast in a single movie since 2014.
Wow.
She found massive success with movies such as Shrek, Charlie's Angels, and There's Something About Mary, holding the title of the highest paid actress over the age of 40, while appearing in multiple films every year up until her disappearance.
I've always liked Cameron Diaz. I've always thought she's like a breath of fresh air. She's silly and quirky and funny, and just seems like an honest type of person. Like she didn't let the Hollywood fame get to her head.
So what happened? Well, unlike most of the others we've covered in this video, Cameron Diaz's vanishing from Hollywood instead came from her end. She'd explained in an interview with Kevin Hart that as someone who performed at the top level of her field, she needed to spend every waking hour focusing on the craft, and she was tired of living such a singular focused life. Cameron Diaz has instead had a baby, written 2 self-help books, and launched a wine brand called Aveline, which seems to be much more than what Sacha Baron Cohen has been up to. After Borat grossed over $250 million back in 2006, Sacha Baron Cohen saw a steady decline in the performance of every film afterwards.
I thought his movies were funny, but I also thought it was kind of like, I don't even think it's a typecasting thing. I just can't see him doing other things. Now, I can't remember. There is a movie where he played a serious role, so I'm going to back up on that. There was some movie he played a serious role, and it took me a while to even realize it was him. So he is a diverse actor, but I think he just typecasted himself so bad with Borat and what's the other one? Whatever the other one is. But yeah, let's see if that's what his demise was. Let's see.
Sacha Baron Cohen saw a steady decline in the performance of
Bruno was the other one. Bruno. Sorry, I keep pausing.
million back in 2006, Sacha Baron Cohen saw a steady decline in the performance of every film afterwards. The Dictator did 180 million, Bruno did 140 million, yet by 2016, Grimsby did only 28 million on a budget of 35 million, meaning the film lost $7 million, whilst prompting reviews such as Baron Cohen is a one-trick pony and his shtick has worn thin. In 2016, he stated that Hollywood would be too scared to make Borat today, explaining that the incredibly crude humor which made the movie so successful was better suited to when the film was first released. The kind of stuff he pulled off in Borat is much harder to do in this YouTube/iPhone age, as Cohen himself admitted while doing press for this one. The same kind of problem can also be applied to Bruno in The Dictator, but it's the risky comedy in these films that makes them so entertaining to watch. On top of being more limited in terms of what jokes he can make, Sacha Baron Cohen has also been limited by lawsuits. He stated in a
I do think it's invasive, like on some of these movies where he's going to real events and disrupting and disturbing people to make his movie and make him money. I think it's kind of tacky and disrespectful. Now, if the events were fake and some of the people were in on it and the rest of the people were not, then that's a different story because you staged an event to play a trick on everybody else that was in the crowd. But if you're showing up to legitimate events, news, press conference, things like that, and you're doing it as a shtick to insert it into your own movie, I think that's kind of tacky.
jokes he can make, Sacha Baron Cohen has also been limited by lawsuits. He stated in a 2012 interview that he could no longer make movies like Borat and Bruno, as the movies I did up till now, they involved real people.
See?
At the moment, I think I have the Guinness World Record for the most sued actor in history, with Borat accounting for at least 7 of these lawsuits. Despite this, Sacha Baron Cohen did release Borat 2 in October 2020, which was purchased by Amazon for $80 million. So while it's clear that he is still finding success with these
I don't think I ever watched Borat 2. Did any of you guys?
roles, it'll be interesting to observe the performance.
All right, that's where that ends. Interesting video. Most of this was not news to me. I think over different videos and press things I've seen in the past, I knew most of this. But what are your thoughts on it, guys? What did you think? Were any of these new to you? Was it the first time of you hearing of any of these reasonings behind why these people are not being cast anymore? And are there any actors or actresses that you haven't seen in a movie or film in a long time that you've wondered where they've gone to and what's going on with them? If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and do all the things. And I will see you guys in the next video. Later.